Muslim, and Donald Trump are walking on a beach, when suddenly. Haha. Stop me if you've heard this one. An illegal Mexican immigrant, a radical Muslim, and Donald Trump were walking together on a beach in Florida when the Mexican stumbled over a bottle in the sand. He picked up the bottle, rubbed the sand off it, and a genie appeared. "I can only grant 3 wishes," the genie said. "Since there are 3 of you, you may have a wish apiece." Pointing at the Mexican, he said, "Since you found the bottle, you may have the first wish." The illegal immigrant said, "This country is racist against my people. It's time to take everyone of Mexican descent that came to this country illegally back to our homeland, where we can finally be happy and live in peace." The genie clapped his hands and the illegal immigrant was transported to Mexico with millions of his people. Turning to the radical Muslim, the genie asked, "And what is your wish?" The radical Muslim said, "This country is bigoted against those who practice Sharia. I wish to take all of my people away from this horrible place loaded with infidels so we can live in peace in Muslim countries and serve Allah." The genie clapped his hands and the radical Muslim, along with every other Sharia practicing Muslim in the country, was instantly transported to the Middle East. Turning to Donald Trump, the genie asked, "And what is your wish?" Trump looked around at the empty beach, smiled, and said, "Just give me a Pepsi. It doesn't get any better than this." Trump Beach, Sheriff, this gave you a good laugh. When Geraldo said illegals don't commit crimes, and Coulter shut him down. Geraldo Rivera is a talking head that can't seem to shut up. He's almost never right about anything, yet he's given a platform to spew his nonsense on a regular basis. I guess this is what Fox News means by fair and balanced. Rivera, being Hispanic, has taken up the pet cause of illegal immigration. He goes far to talk about how it's good for the country, all the while not portraying the very real bad side. Thankfully, we have Ann Coulter for that, an ardent Trump supporter and one who understands the subject of illegal immigration all too well. She takes him to task for his nonsensical statements and her victory is indeed glorious. Watch this and try not to get up and cheer. Do you think she was too hard on him, or not hard enough? Source: YouTube. Reg Alvey rips apart a pro-illegal U.S. immigration official on live TV and I can't stop cheering. Once again, Reg Alvey proves that having him on our side is going to help win the fight on illegal immigration. There are countless people who consider themselves warriors in the fight against illegal immigration. Some even disguise themselves as immigration officials. That's exactly what's going on here. This liberal U.S. immigration official is arguing that the 12 million illegal immigrants should have a clear path to citizenship in this country. Rep. Alvey shuts her down instantly and expertly. This is epic. The problem with the left is that they think that every illegal immigrant is attempting to escape the poverty of Mexico. That's not true at all. Illegal immigration costs the United States hundreds of billions of dollars every single year. It brings in drug trafficking and crime. To say that every illegal in the U.S. is here for a benevolent reason is pure ignorance. This is what Alvey is attempting to get through here. You cannot lump all illegal immigrants into one category. It just doesn't work like that. It's not fair for the millions of Hispanics that went through the process the correct way, and got their citizenship the way it should be done. Every illegal immigrant that comes in is a slap to the face to those who truly want to be here. The left will never tell you that part. Source: YouTube. Watch Tucker Carlson make Maxine Waters swallow her own lies on live TV. If you follow current events at all, you've probably noticed a spike in appearance by an aging representative from California named Maxine Waters. We have no idea how she won her congressional campaign, but she's rocketed herself into the national spotlight with a completely absurd campaign to impeach President Trump. We've yet to be given a great reason for why Waters wants to remove the president, but she's dead set against him. She's been a frequent flyer on MSNBC, and she even got some airtime on Fox recently when she made some less than flattering comments about Fox News' Tucker Carlson. Via The Blaze, Waters, speaking to MSNBC host Joy Reid, was responding to a recent discussion Carlson had on his show when he discussed with Larry Elder a report that said Waters was considering running for the White House in 2020. Ahead of a speech in New Hampshire this weekend, ironically, also the state with the first presidential primary, Waters told the Daily Caller that she would run for the White House if millennials want her to. "I'm just going up to do a county Democratic thing. That's all," Waters told the Daily Caller. "I'm not running for anything but my own seat. I don't have any presidential aspirations. If the millennials want me to do it, I do it, though." It sounds to me like Carlson commented on the news that was floating around, like he's paid to do, and Waters took it as a cheap shot. One would think that these talks about her running in 2020 would be flattering to the congresswoman who's been ripping off her little district for 3 decades running. But no, as per the liberal oath, she must be offended if any offense can be possibly perceived. The only reasonable explanation to the rest of the world is that the left is letting this crazy lady say what they're afraid to say in order to try and make President Trump look bad. Waters has proved that she will do anything at all to get the president impeached, no matter the moral or ethical ramifications, and that's just what the left has been looking for. After years of haphazard service and single vote usefulness, the left has finally found a use for this career politician, and they're just milking it. No, we don't think that she'll get the Democratic nomination, even if she runs, because that's not her purpose. Her purpose is to keep squawking about President Trump and Russia while the left comes up with something more reasonable to pin on him. And she's very good at her job. Source: The Blaze. Obama will not like what this brave Marine said about his legacy. When President Barack Obama took the stage in a farewell speech that summed up his presidency, to a crowd of die-hard liberals, one Marine known only as Jay wasn't convinced. Jay contacted us to publish his response to Obama's farewell speech, and essentially his entire presidency. We can't agree more. Here is the letter in its entirety. "This is your legacy, Mr. President. For the first time, I can say that I'm proud of my country. No, these aren't my words, they're the words of your wife when you took office in 2009. This set the tone for the kind of president you'd be, and the kind of legacy you left behind. Your speech to your adoring fans screaming for more years makes for a good soundbite and video clip, but it doesn't paint the picture of the tens of millions of regular Americans that voted you in twice and gotten stabbed in the back for it. You stood in front of hundreds of veterans and promised that their lives would be better after you took office, that they would get the care that their country owed them. 8 years later, the VA is more broken than ever, and my brothers and sisters in arms are committing suicide at an all-time high. You ignored the advice of wartime generals and pulled troops out of an unstable country and gave rise to ISIS, the most evil group of people on the planet. This is your legacy. Our country is twice as much in debt as it was when you took office, to the tune of nearly $20 trillion. That number is so large that it may as well be monopoly money. And the only people that are footing the bill are our children, the ones that you cut off at the knees by taking millions in donations from bloated teachers' unions. The ones who hire teachers who can't teach and can't be fired. This is your legacy. You said that America became stronger, but all you did was apologize to corrupt world leaders and made deals with radical Muslims who want us and our allies in Israel to be wiped off the map. You downplayed terrorist attacks as workplace violence, and used national tragedies to trample on the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. You legitimized the hateful Black Lives Matter movement and gave them the ability to poison the minds of our inner-city youth, then stood on the graves on the officers that lost their lives as a result and had the audacity to lecture grieving police officers about race relations. This is your legacy. You said middle America clings to God and guns, while you waged war on both. You tried to pass yourself off as a Christian, while telling radical Muslim nations that practice Sharia law that you stand with them. This is your legacy. You spoke about Obamacare being a force for good, but don't have the common sense to realize that holding a gun to the heads of people who work for a living, to pay for the ones that don't, makes everyone worse off. Making it illegal for people not to have coverage is exactly the kind of socialism that conservatives warned about before you got into office. You dismissed these claims as conspiracy theories, but now we have regular, healthy families having to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the bare minimum of healthcare. This is your legacy. Before you were elected, you made the case that the first black president would be a milestone for this country. 8 years later, you're standing on the podium, saying yes, we did, like you've accomplished something other than playing a record amount of golf as the country gets ready for its second-grade recession. This is your legacy. What may come as a surprise to you and the rest of the now far-left pundits that run the media is, the color of your skin never mattered to America. It was the policies that attracted Americans, the decency and unity that you said you'd restore to this nation, and it was the betrayal of these ideas which gave us an actual outsider, and the person that you failed to stop, Donald Trump. Your presidency was a wake-up call for America. You said that you're now motivated to chime in about our political system as a citizen, but I'm here to tell you, as someone who loves this country and will fight to the death to protect the Constitution that you refer to as just a piece of parchment, that America has awakened to your self-serving ideology and they've had enough of you. In 10 days, a new president will take up residence in the White House and your 8 years of unconstitutional executive orders that sets violent criminals free, disastrous economic policies, and weak foreign policies will be erased. You will be the president that will be remembered by those too young to know any better, not as a champion and protector of our rights and Constitution, but as a celebrity. Everything you've done to this country over your 8 years will be wiped from the history books, and your legacy, as much as it hurts right now, will be nothing more than a distant memory. I wish you farewell, and I'm hopeful for the future of my country, which just proved that it deserves someone better than you. J. Flag. Note, for the sake of political backlash, the author of this article would prefer to remain anonymous. The picture of the Marine was taken here, and is a stock photo. North Carolina just made drug testing mandatory for all welfare recipients. Results are far worse than anyone expected. There's a growing culture within American society that apparently believes that government should be financially responsible for the well-being of individuals receiving government entitlements, even if they're willfully irresponsible. However, in North Carolina, that progressive culture hasn't yet reached lawmakers, where welfare applicants are required to take a drug screening test, in order to qualify for benefits. And as suspected, the results was eye-opening, in that approximately 1/4 of all the applicants tested positive for drug use, or more precisely 21 out of 89 individuals tested positively for drugs and will no longer receive benefits. Moreover, those that test positive are required to pay back the state the $55 testing fee, which actually acts a deterrent for those using drugs, in that over 70 applicants who were slated to take the drug test, never bothered to show up.